Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from Challenge Daytona and the PTO 2020 Championship. My name is Bob Babbitt and we're brought to you by Captiva Spine, John Hall Chevrolet, USA Triathlon Foundation Risk Partners, and the PTO, the Pro Triathletes Organization. Our next guest, three-time Olympian, four-time ITU World Champion, two-time Ironman champion, more importantly, Patagonia Man champion, Mr. Tim Don joins us. How you doing, Tim? It's been way too long.
I know, it's been a long time. Different surroundings, but it's always nice to see you. It really is.
Always a pleasure. And it's funny, I always look at the two bookends when I think about you is we chatted the day before your crash in Kona. And when you got hit by a car a couple days before and you were having the best year of your career, and next thing you know, you're in a halo and didn't know if you would ever race again, and you're lucky really to be alive and not be paralyzed.
Yeah, I mean, literally, yeah, it can turn on a dime, and yeah, I totally believe that now, so I'm very fortunate that I'm good, and I have raced, and yeah, I will continue to race as long as I can.
And the other side of that bookend is then we were at the Boston Marathon, and it was your first race back.
First race, first marathon, somewhat not ideal conditions, if I remember correctly. That was
freezing.
The year, absolutely.
And I'm like, Tim, you just got out of a halo and you're running. It's freezing. It's wet. You don't want to slip and fall out here. And you ran what, 2:49?
Yeah, 2:49. So yeah, I was very happy with that given the circumstances. But it was such a, I mean, obviously, you know, a tough race. But for me, I just enjoyed running with other people, and it is a real celebration of sport. You know, having heard about the Boston Marathon, and obviously the history speaks for itself, but especially in the last, you know, few years. So yeah, no, it was a great way for me to celebrate being back. So yeah, no, it's something I'd like to go back one day, but maybe when I can run it with my kids.
That would be great. And to me, what was so important about that was you had this life-altering moment, and you came back from that. How did that change you, going from 1 minute you're a world-class athlete, the top of your powers, next thing you're wearing a halo, you can't sleep, you got screws in your head. I'm sorry to bring back these awful memories.
No, I know.
Yeah, not being able to sleep, screws in your head, not knowing if you could ever be a professional athlete again, and just happy to be able to walk at some point. How did it change you? Yeah,
massively. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think if it happened at a race, it would have been, you know, really, really terrible for me. But the fact we were 3 days away from, you know, the greatest race in triathlon on one of the most iconic courses, and I was in good shape, and you know, I believed I was going to be in the fight for a podium, a top 5, and come Kona, that's all you can wish for. And you know, it went from, you know, from that to not knowing, you know, how severe the break was, you know, multiple scans, and then having to somehow get back to Colorado, and then being told I had to have a halo. So it really went from the highest high to the lowest low, and yeah, it definitely made me thankful for the people around me and for the sport of triathlon, the community at large, you know, globally, from, you know, young juniors all over the world to my peers who I race, try and beat, you know, how they supported me, and some of them probably didn't realize how they were supporting me and helping through it. But yeah, it definitely, I don't take races for granted anymore, even more so this year considering what's happened. So,
exactly. You
know, just to be here, wow.
Yeah. And when I saw that you were doing Patagonia Man, I'm going, of course he is. He's going, you know what, is there anything that I want to do that I haven't done yet? And I want to go to this race where the water is 51 degrees, it's longer than an Ironman, it's brutal, but I want some of that.
Absolutely, and there's over 2 kilometers of crazy gravel on the bike course, so and they're in different sections. It's a point to point, so logistically it's a nightmare. The run, there's 2 aid stations in the not a marathon, in the 43.5 kilometers of running. So yeah, I mean, why not? And I thoroughly enjoyed my experience there, and I'm definitely looking to do more races that kind of like, you have this bucket list, and I'm really lucky that as a professional athlete I can tick some of those off in you know, and as a professional. So yeah, there's a few more races hopefully in 2021, but let's just finish at 2020 first.
Get this thing over with. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. The cool thing is, PTO rankings, you're number 69, which stands out, of course, and you're just the fact that you're still ranked, right? And it's not like you're 23 years old anymore.
No, I'm nearly 43 in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, I'm no spring chicken. But, yeah, to be in the top 100 is, I'm super chuffed with that. I'd like to be higher than number 69. But, maybe I can get some points here and we can move on next year. But, I think there's life in the old dog yet. So, yeah.
And with this, have you been out on the course and checked out the bike?
It's crazy. I mean, I genuinely don't think anyone in Europe who's racing here appreciated the severity of the banking on this course. It makes a velodrome look not steep. This is the outdoors of. It's just insane. And then when you look around, I mean, we were just talking, 100,000, just over 100,000 seats plus the infield for race day. Not our race day, but the Daytona 500. I don't think, we appreciated just how America, how big, how NASCAR, this is. And I think that, the challenge organisers, obviously this is the second year, done an amazing job putting it out there. It's a fast course. Just got to remember, turn left, always turn left. And watch out for Ricky Bobby.
So when you're out and the wind just seems to come out of everywhere.
It does. It whips round. You have these moments when you're really flying, and then definitely when you're not. So I do think that could be a factor, definitely on the race. And obviously, it's very un-Daytona weather at the moment. Right. Waking up to low 50s. So let's hope it does warm up for race day. But we are lucky. We are starting. I think the women are at 10, and we're at 2. So hopefully it does warm up. But I think it's a challenging course in different ways. Obviously, it's similar to Kona in the fact that we don't always turn up at the same time to race each other, only once a year in long course. So ITU do it every day, whether it's French Grand Prix, Bundesliga, and ITU. And on top of that, you have to pedal. And that sounds strange, but sometimes with a bit of rollingness, you get some freewheel, some respite. If you do that, you're going to open up a gap and someone will come round you. The caliber of the field is that strong. So I do think it's, I think everyone's been really working on their position on the bike and just that the consistency of pedaling for 80 kilometers absolutely non-stop.
And the field, right? We're talking ITU athletes who you've never raced before. Some of them these you've never raced before. Then you've got some.
They were juniors when I was
racing. Exactly.
They were youths when I was racing.
70.3 athletes, Ironman athletes. Do you like that, having all these guys together under one roof?
No, I hate it. Are you crazy? They're too fast. Too many of them. Just let it be me. No, look, mate. Look, I love racing the best of the best. Right. You see where you're at. There's. Numbers, training, no medals in training. So, I do think, though, some people won't be at their best because it's been a tough year. Right. Obviously, emotionally, mentally, and physically for lots of us. But, the athletes that have raced, they have really turned up their A game. So, I think we're going to see some fast and furious racing. And I think it will be a mix between ITU and middle distance, long distance athletes. But I just think the ITU guys, are really gonna dominate the weekend. Yeah,
it used to be that ITU guys, when you started talking about draft legal and you started talking about aero bars, they were out. But these guys can ride.
Well, I mean, the best ITU guys are the current Olympic champion, Alistair Brownlee, who has medalled at World 70.3s. Yep. Javi Gomez,
who's
Olympic
won two
medalist.
70.3s, 2 world championships.
The sport's evolving. ITU is moving at such a ferocious pace, and 70.3 is not that far behind. And these guys are capable of making the jump more frequently than they used to be, 10, 15 years ago, as you said. And these guys have had time to prepare. They're not just adding it on. They haven't had many races, so they have been on their time trial bikes a lot more. And this course maybe suits them with a long swim, short bike, and a faster run, because it is 3 kilometers shorter than a 21 half marathon. But then saying that, I mean, there's some world-class 70.3 and long Ironman guys as well. I mean, you know, who's the ultimate Ironman was Mark Allen, and what did he do in 1989?
He won the first ever world championship at the Olympic distance in Avignon, France.
You know, Ben Canute, podiums at World 70.3s, and then he podiums in Major League, which is a 15-minute race. Right. Just the caliber of athlete is just phenomenal. So, you know, yeah, there's lots of people that could win it, and I'm sure you could come up with, you know, 10 different threes for the podium, and right. You might not get one or two of them right. So, as a guy who's been doing this for so long, and to me, I see the biggest change is the cycling. Right? When you look at Kona, the swim times really haven't changed that much. The run times, if you're running in the low 240s in '89 or now, you're a factor. Yeah. The bike times, Mark Allen's fastest ever time was like 4:29 in Kona, and now those guys are going 4:08. Really?
Yeah,
I've been quicker than that.
See, you're
Mark
dominant.
Who? What's his name?
Well, I forget.
Please. Call him the grip. It's gonna crumble.
How have you had a change on the bike to be competitive all these years later?
Yeah, no, I mean, as I say, it's always evolving, and what do I say? Innovate or die. So, you know, I was lucky enough to. A long story, but I ended up working with a guy called Matt Bottrell, who's an ex-British champion on the time trial, ex-professional rider, who now coaches, and he coaches
Tim O'Donnell,
Rinny, and I was, I think, the first professional that he really coached, and I was coached by Julie Dibbons, who coaches all those other athletes who are now coached by him as well. So, you know, for me, we worked on, you know, I had the power from ITU, but it was the pacing. You know, that's so crucial now. And then again, working on equipment, on aero position. You can't go to a wind tunnel and get an amazing CDA. You have to be able to hold it for 180K or 80K on the weekend and still be able to run that 240 to 250 marathon. Right. So I think the process has massively changed on the bike, and I think more and more people are buying into it. I swear today, so we've got 3 days to go to the race, someone was getting lactates done on their session. That's how serious people are about it, and how meticulous and how, you know, to the point they can be. So, it's moved on massively. If Mark Allen would have been riding on the bike and wearing the clothes that we wear, the speed suits, the aero helmets,
they go just fast.
He would have gone not quite as fast as... No, of course he would have gone as fast.
Yeah.
You know, but I think... you know, we call them tri-bars. Cyclists call them tri-bars. It is such an innovative sport. We are always looking to push the envelope, push the bubble, whether it's an oversized pulley wheel, whether it's custom aero bars, it's a new suit, it's a new philosophy of training, whether it would be altitude, heat adaptation. Triathletes and their coaches are always there to innovate, and I love that about our sport.
Yeah, because you've had to change. You've had to adapt.
Yeah, no. Shit or get, you have to, I won't swear, but there's a great saying, you have to keep up. If you don't keep up with the Joneses, you're going to be left behind, and I'm lucky that I've got a team around me who are like-minded and love that side of the sport, and you know, it is evolving all the time, and I think it's only going to get faster, more scientific, and you know, I think it won't be long till we see the swim times come down and the run times come down, but the bike times, you know, kind of stay where they are. I mean, there's always that flow of everything. So, it's exciting, to be there. And then, as you said, this is a place where two worlds are meeting. You know, the intensity of ITU and the endurance of the ice pick to the leg of an ITU race, and the slow, painful ache of a toothache of an Ironman. They're coming together, and it's going to explode.
I love it. Tim, it's always so good to catch up with you, and every time I chat with you and I look at your forehead and I see where those screws are, I'm just so grateful that you're back racing and that you're able to play with your kids and do all those things that we didn't know for a long time if you'd be able to do.
No, thanks. And as I say, it's always a pleasure to speak to you. We're not quite on the beach in Huggos, but this
isn't bad.
This is not bad. So, thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Tim Don has been our guest, everybody. Again, Breakfast with Bob, Challenge Daytona PTO 2020 Championship. Hold on. We'll be right back.